Alright, now I'm going to show you how to tweak this node to get these results. Now this is the painful part of explaining how this works, but it'll get all too apparent here in a second. The first thing you have to do though is make sure this node, this comparison node, is set to a greater than. The reason it's so hard to explain is because Maya2011 has one little bug. It does not produce a -0. Okay? Let me demonstrate that for a second. So what usually happens is if I have the sample node and in here -0 of this instance right here would start making a different gradient going back. So I have a gradient going forward and a gradient going back, and they meet in the middle and have this black strip. Okay, so it all runs off this point camera. So in all rationale, it should be 0. This should go to this number and produce 0 times -1, and then it should jump over to here and produce a -0. Now that doesn't occur for some reason within Maya 2011. Maya 2008 works perfectly. So I have to kind of say, well, it can't be -0, so I'm going to put -0.001, and then what that happens, it's the closest value to 0 that I can think of. So this goes in here, -0.01, good, and then it produces, which should be a negative here. So there's a lot of bugs within this Maya 2011 that I'm seeing right off the bat, and that's the reason why it's so hard to make this node work. But if you're getting something that looks like this in your renders, that's a good sign. Okay? Even though it shouldn't work at all. Because the number is not being calculated correctly here or here. Now, another thing, this black bar right here, I can adjust the size value of its drop off by going into this one and adjusting the scale ratio on Z. So right now the scale is set to 1. If I said, well, maybe I want a drop off to occur very gradually, I could set that to 10. And you can see it should automatically update here. If it does not, you're going to have to render. Slight increase. So this number, the higher the value, the more drop off occurs on your gradient. And then therefore more mid-ground actually gets rendered out with highest detail. So this is what I get now. I'll keep this number, I'll just keep this for a second, and then I'll change that number and show you how that works. So here I'll change this back to 10, and then I go back to here and do another render and keep that one. And here's what the two look side by side. Okay? So that means that if you use this as a depth mask for depth of field, these would be in a lot more detail than the foreground object. This is the only one that's going to be at highest detail. So you can use that to be your focus on things, that number right there. Now in the next video, what I want to do is show you some more things that you can do with this. I want to show you how you can calculate for mid-ground. So that's in the next video.